again now too. Just like every round of golf. Here we go.
3T.
That's right. That's funny. Welcome everybody. It's Swing Thoughts. We're just laughing because we had to start over again. And our guest just made me laugh. Yeah, we got a mulligan on the first tee.
It's the breakfast bowl of podcasts. Yes.
That's right. Is there anything, I don't know, sometimes when you take the breakfast ball, you know, you do it sheepishly but gratefully, like a lot of things in golf. You know, welcome. It's Swing Thoughts. I'm Humble Howard from the Humble and Fred Show, golf spiritual leader, along with my podcast partner and very dear friend, Coach Tim O'Connor, o'connorgolf.ca. For many years, he and I have been convening with you, talking over golf stuff, mainly the mental side of the game. But, you know, we try and keep you up to date with all the goings on. I don't know. Have we recorded a show, Timmy, since Tiger's accident?
Nope.
Okay, so we'll talk a little bit of Tiger later and bring you up to date on what we know. Always we'll discuss some things that Tim and I are ruminating around the mental side. But as always, this program is baked and brought to you by TaylorMade Golf. Man, are we lucky. So lucky to have access to the best equipment that is made today. And with us today is the product line manager from TaylorMade Canada, Jamey Dees. Got a cool name, man. It's like, hey, it's Jamey Dees. What's up, Jamey?
So, hey, I actually I went through for radio and television back in the day.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did. But you see how that wound up, right?
Well, yeah. If I had started off and my name was Jamey Dees, I'd never become Humble Howard.
Oh, it's, you know, face for radio is my issue all
listen,
along.
Man. If I had another yard for every time somebody said that to me, I'd be hitting at 375. Tim, you just had the good fortune, as I did last week, of being fitted by our friends at the lab, the TaylorMade lab. So I guess we should start with that, Jamey. First of all, thanks for doing this. Thanks for being our sponsor. And I've had a chance, as Tim has, to see some new equipment. It's amazing. But let's just talk at the beginning. How important is the fitting to the process for new clubs for a golfer?
It's incredibly important, and it's incredibly important for golfers of all skill levels. And I think that is really one of the things that we need to focus on, because there are a lot of players out there who are maybe just, you know, the recreational players, the warrior, and they probably feel like, you know what, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough to be fit. I'm not consistent enough. But I remember, you know, I've been in the industry for a long time. I started at a little mom and pop shop back in, you know, around the early 90s. And so I've seen a lot of things come and go. And the one thing that, you know, I try to pick up different things from different people as you go through the years. And one of the teaching professionals that I worked with, he said, basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to make your best shots, or your most common and consistent shots, as good as they can be. He's consistent on some level who is a golfer. And really what we're trying to do is max. And I think, you know, I don't get to play enough. I don't practice a ton. I get around and doing all these kind of things. But I remember I got fit. I walked in, and if I was buying a product off the shelf, I would have purchased a certain driver, a certain set of irons. But when I walked out, I ended up with a different driver that was getting me about another 15 yards, and another set of irons that was another half club longer. So I was hitting, you know, so the person who fit me basically said, you would have hit driver 7 iron and missed the green right. Now you're going to hit driver 9 iron and you're a degree upright. So you're, you know, so you're going to be significantly more consistent. You're going to hit it farther, you're going to hit straight, and you're really just going to enjoy the game more. So I think it's really crucial. A lot of those, again, those kind of recreational players think that is just for the better player, and it obviously is for them, and they understand it. But for that real recreational player, I think it's important. Just, it doesn't have to be every year, for certainly, but I think once in a while, every few years, you go and you go get custom fit, make sure your specs are all right, see if the new technology will help you.
All right, Jamey, one thing, the technology, it can let us down sometimes. The Zoom call. we're hearing most of what you say, but there's a little dropout from time to time. There's a thing in your top left corner not sure if you see it, says turn on original sound. If you see that, click on it, and maybe it'll just make it a little bit better.
Well,
Anyways.
I think actually I think that's right. But the other thing, Jamey, is that microphone that you're using is on your earbuds, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's just when you move your head, it kind of clicks in and out. So just try and keep it a little more consistent.
I'll keep it away then.
And I just want to ask or sort of jump in on what you said about the average player doesn't think they're good enough to be fit. But you said something that even a 20 handicapper or an 18 handicapper doesn't really consider, and that is the lies and lofts, being upright or not. Because, you got a product guy here from TaylorMade. Of course, he wants you to buy clubs every year. But the reason you want to be fit isn't so that you get the latest driver. It's so that the clubs fit your swing, wherever you are in that process. And I think, Timmy, that's something I don't know that a lot of higher handicappers would even consider. What did you want to say?
Well, I think that it's the thing about fitting is there is as Jamey was saying, there's a natural thinking, well, I'm not good enough for this. Wow. It's all about having the right tools for fit. It's as simple as that. If you're, and like I went to regular shafts in my irons a couple of years ago. Yes, I reached the
the regular shaft ears.
Yeah, I know. It was my initial reaction was, Mr. O'Connor, would you consider regular shafts? I thought, oh, the apocalypse has arrived.
The geezer apocalypse is here.
It is, next thing it's like incontinence and dentures. But it's been okay since. But
Jamey, you don't need to be part of that conversation. It's fine. Yeah. We don't expect you to have a solution.
But going to regular shafts in my irons just made I start hitting the ball better. My dispersion was a little bit tighter. It was just made for more fun.
And whether you're a good player, an elite player, what Jamey was also saying, like you might go into a TaylorMade fitting and come out with a set of clubs that you didn't expect, right, Jamey? Because not everyone needs a 4-iron anymore. Maybe you want to have some hybrids, and so the overall fitting is so that the clubs fit you and that the set you're getting fits your game. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about some of the things that TaylorMade does, some of the new, because I saw some hybrids there the other day that are, I can see one day replacing my 4-iron. I like my 4-iron, but that 4 hybrid, man, that is a much easier club to hit.
Well, certainly, and I mean, hybrids have been around now for 5 years, and people have gotten used to using them. But one of the things that personally that I see, because again, the fitting center that we have there deals with a lot of really competitive.
Jamey, do me a favor, just hold the thing up to your mouth because we're literally every other word seems to be cutting out.
Here,
you know what would be good? Just use your computer audio.
Let's do that. Yeah. Is that better?
That's perfect.
Actually, I think it's better.
Because here's the thing. The last thing we need is Nick or Bradley to say, hey, it was great having Jamey on the show, but what the fuck? So we would be remiss as fitters, broadcast fitters, if we didn't get your audio. So please continue.
Perfect. Yeah, you bet. So I think one of the things is that the people that I normally deal with, the people that the fitters in the lab deal with, there are a lot of really competitive players out there. My friends, the people I surround myself with are not as competitive. And I think one of the things we see in that space is people have on the top end of the bag, fairways and rescues, which are what we call in TaylorMade terminology. And long people have 4 or 5 clubs that all do the same thing. So a huge part of that fitting process is gapping, getting that spacing at the top end of the bag, not just for performance, but for the mental. You don't want to be standing over a 200-yard shot, second guessing the club that you have in your hand.
Right.
So really getting that gapping is a big part of the process as well on both ends, from the top end and in your wedges. So making sure that gapping is consistent so that when you stand over a shot, you're confident in the club that you choose when you pull it from your bag.
Yeah, I'll give you a great example of how a fitter can help you with your game, not just in just the tools, but options for your game. And so I got fit by Dean. What's Dean's last name?
I'm drawing
On
a
the
blank now,
spot.
too. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank now too.
We'll come back to that. Dean, a wonderful young guy. Thank you, Dean. So I was getting fitted for a 3-wood, and he said, "Hey, why don't you consider a 4-wood?" And it gave me some options, because my miss sometimes is a shot to the left, but with that 4-wood I hit it less times to that. So now I have an option. Depending on the course I play, could go with the 3-wood or the 4-wood. And that came from the fitting experience. I wouldn't have thought of that on my own. So it was a really cool experience.
Well, and that's kind of what Jamey's talking about in terms of setting up your set. It's not just, buying a suit that fits your, inseam. It's also buying the right suit for where you're at. Do you recommend some of the guys listening maybe go to a hybrid for their 4-iron now?
Yeah, hybrid. Yeah, again, hybrids and higher lofted fairways too. I mean, like Dustin Johnson carries a 7-wood now.
I know, it's awesome.
You want to talk about the old? Forget the reg shaft. It's 7. That's the ultimate old guy experience.
I was going to say that. Remember when people used to make fun? Oh, you've got a 7-wood. Really? Are you retiring? And then you see Dustin Johnson hits it about 260.
So I mean, it's a mix of whether it's a hybrid or a higher lofted fairway as well. But one of the questions that I ask is not just what's the longest iron in your current setup, what's the longest iron you actually hit well?
Right.
Because tons of people carry 3 irons and 4 irons and 5 irons and cannot hit them. Get it off the ground, or some of the other things you find is sometimes your lie angles change throughout the set. You might be a little bit flatter with one club or a little more upright.
Really?
So they can't necessarily, the players that come in can't necessarily hit the longest clubs in their bag. And so it's about eliminating all of those. And
that's a great question, by the way. I've never heard it put like that, but that's perfect. What's the longest iron you hit well? And, it's funny because to a lot of players,
I was going to say my 8-iron, but
I was going to for a lot of players, it's their 7-iron. It's true, though. Like, I've played with a lot of guys over the years who and all of us wear our 7-irons out on the range because that's the funnest one to hit, that goes the longest, that also goes on the highest. But that's a great question to ask. And so for most players, sometimes that starts at their 5 and 6-iron. Mm-hmm. But I think mentally for guys, it's tough getting their heads around the fact that they've got a 4 hybrid, a 5 hybrid.
Yeah, and in some cases too, depending on the performance of each club, you may not even have to carry either, right? You may not have to have you may go from a 3 hybrid to a 4, and that's the correct gapping depending on the performance. So
I got to interrupt you because we've been looking so forward to having you on, and for some reason, just swing thoughts, luck or not, but your connection literally is interrupting every 5th or 6th word you say. So do me a favor. Can you sign out and sign back in? This is just like a round of golf. It doesn't always go smoothly because I want to make sure that the last 5 or 6 minutes of your appearance with us, which again, we've been excited to have you. I just don't want it to sound like shit. So just sign out and sign back in, and Tim and I will just kill some time while you do.
Try it from my phone maybe too.
Okay, man.
Okay. Thanks, man.
That's something I've never heard put so well, which is, what is the iron you start to hit consistently well? And I'm going to be honest with you. I still like my 4-iron. I hit it very, pretty decently, I would say, off the fairway or rough, but I really like it sometimes off a tee for par 3 long, because I still play some par 3s that are in the 200 range. Mm-hmm. But that's an interesting question because I know sometimes now I go to get my 4-iron off the ground and I'm like, better be a pretty good lie.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, I took the 4-iron. See, I'm a couple years older than you.
Oh yeah, really?
So yeah. The next birthday is the "Will you still need me? Will you still feed me?" one. Woo. I took the 4-iron out. I think a couple years ago, and so the 5-iron is mine, and so it probably won't be, who knows, that long till the 5-iron comes out. But I'm okay with it.
Yeah, that'll be a fun day, huh? Oh, I have a 1-wood, 3-wood, hybrid 4, hybrid 5. Is he trying to get back in yet?
I haven't seen him yet.
Oh man, that was such a drag because he was saying such great stuff, but it was so intermittent.
Yeah, I know. Well, there are still some patches to fill in this virtual world we're in. It isn't always perfect.
Can you hear the music?
I can, yeah. And I'm just kind of I'm just trying to not hear it.
You're the same age as my middle brother, Steve, and my brother from another mother, Freddie P. Except Freddie P is about to turn 65.
Oh, well, that's a different deal. That's a different deal.
That's a whole other world, my friend.
There's some sentimentality with 64. 65 is, wow, that's when like the guys at the loading dock said, bye. Hope you catch lots of fish.
Speaking of, this is we're recording this on Friday, March 5th for you people that are maybe catching up later. And today it was announced that Wayne Gretzky's dad passed away. Interesting how the reaction has been to that. I've seen it on social media and talking about, Canada's ultimate hockey dad. I thought that was interesting. We all live vicariously through Walter Gretzky and the way he handled Wayne. There's Jamey. Let's see if it works better, Jamey.
Are we back, or is this any better? Testing.
So far,
so good. Yep. I can see you did go through that training for radio earlier in your life.
That's right. We're just talking about what you said about the best club you hit in your bag, the best iron you hit. And, I guess as you get older, you have to sort of kind of go, okay, I'm going to get maybe softer shafts. I'm going to get more loft. And, that's a great thing about this game. I just got fit last week at 61. I'm hitting my 6 iron, similar distance as I was in my late 30s, which is technology. So, Jamey, let's ask that question. What are the technological improvements, and why should somebody get this year's, Sim 2? And what are some of the things that you guys have done to make those things, kind of available to us to have the distance as we age that we used to have?
Yes, from an iron perspective, basically creating a game improvement iron with a hollow body. So creating a lot more speed in the face, more forgiveness, just making again the game easier to play. So you get distance that you may have been lacking. You've got a club that's a few years old. Sound and feels really improved as well this year with again this hollow body construction. We've created what's called a cap back and put some dampening right behind the face. And what that does, it helps keeps ball speed, but it also creates a better sound. So it sounds like you're playing a forged club. Mm-hmm. All the benefits of a game improvement club. That's an iron story. And, I have a friend that came in, he wasn't sure he wanted to get fit. He had clubs that are 10 years old. Same story for you. He's hitting them higher. He's hitting them longer, just making the game more enjoyable. From a metalwood perspective, from a driver, let's say, the whole idea is just really to make the overall pack. So the club's a little more aerodynamic this year. And we've also got this milled, the big blue ring, the forged aluminum ring. And what that does is allow us to move a lot of weight around to make more players. So what that does allow us to move more weight back, make the club more forgiving. Again, creating a sleeker profile allows you to swing it fast. So if you're swinging it faster, the ball's going to travel faster. And you're making more forgiving, the ball's going to travel greater. And it's really what it's all about, is trying to create better enjoyment for the game for all players, not just the better players, but the recreational ones as well. So from a metal perspective, really creating the overall story.
Sure.
More accurate, faster, and more forgiving. Everybody wants to hit it straight too. You want to be on the short grass.
Jamey, I've been using the Spider X putter last year, and I'm gonna stick with that for this year. But I love what you've done to take it to the next level with the Spider EX. Why don't you just talk a little bit about how particularly this new putter helps folks with alignment and ball position?
There's a couple. The simple story from an alignment perspective is the large white line on it, the true path alignment we have, simply makes it easier to take your eye from the putter to the ball to the hole. The difference this year is we've extended that alignment line so that it matches the size of. So there's sort of a subconscious element to putting. We talk about, you talk about the mental part of the game a lot. There's a subconscious element that basically, you go to your home. It's a little happy, right? It's from the line from the ball to the hole, creates a little better alignment. And then from a pure performance standpoint, we've improved, made it a little bit firmer. So there's a little better feel, and we've also created a little better feel in the shaft. So it's called the Fluted feel shaft, which allows for a little more stability, but it also allows you to kind of release the putter head a little bit more on the long putts, give you a little bit better feel.
Jamey, I've had we've been so lucky to have access to you guys, and that's all I can say. We really are grateful, not only to have your support, but to have access to the things that you guys offer to people. The fitting, the putter fitting, though, I've only done it a couple times. Again, last week I got fit for a new putter, and it's interesting. You think, oh wow, they're all the same if you just like the way they look. But what I found with Ryan, whose name I can't remember his last name.
So Ryan Moore, and then it's Dean Kanofsky. Sorry.
Okay.
Thanks for rescuing the guys over 60.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
where did we eat yesterday? I can't remember.
No, the funny thing is, when you were talking about you couldn't remember your guy's last name, I'm like, Jesus, I hope it's not a test for my guy's last name.
Yeah.
So Ryan, he fit me for the putter. And what I found out, again, I'm always amazed that just a little adjustment in the loft of the putter, the way it lies, and all of a sudden, I don't get too geeky here, but the skidding, the initial skid of the putt was lessened or increased just by a couple of small adjustments. So if you're a 15 handicap, it doesn't matter. If you could roll it a little bit better exponentially throughout the round and through your year, etc., you will feel better. And I think you made a good point too, Jamey. Psychologically, knowing that it's right for you, the same way a nice suit would fit, you just feel better.
Yeah, and I think the forward roll piece is one of the analogies that people use. There's always imperfections in the green. If a ball's got a lot of forward roll, think about a tire climbing over an imperfection. If a tire is skidding, it's always bouncing side to side over the imperfection. If it's got a lot of forward roll, it's going to roll straight. That's really
something
the
bumpy,
goal.
it will climb over it. Yeah,
exactly. So it's more likely to stay on line. Putter fitting it's massively overlooked because it's not as fun for people.
Yeah.
You're smashing the ball, you're hitting it a mile, but it's the one that can clearly save you the most strokes and save you the most headache. And there are so many people out there who don't know if they should be using a blade putter, a mallet putter, one that's face balanced, one with a lot of toe hang. Length is such a basic one. Length and lie, so basic in terms of putter fitting. And they can really get you, fitters can really get you into a good space in terms of the lie of the putter that you need, because you want to make sure that your contact is as squarely as possible and as best as possible to help you.
Putter length is huge, and I think a lot of people don't understand how important it is. I think the majority of people I play with have a putter shaft that's too long for them.
Agreed.
They end up gripping down near the base of the grip, and so they're not even able to take advantage of the new technology with the wider grips now. But also, it just feels better, and that's the key thing about fitting is even on an unconscious level, if I feel better, that the club doesn't feel so, say, heavy or it's not fighting me, the game just feels, it's just easier to play and it just feels better. That's all I got on that one.
Well, and length of putter too, the longer the putter, the more you stand up, the further your eye gets from the target line. It's something that it's an easy fix too.
Yeah.
To make sure that you're getting it. Yeah.
Jamey, just before we let you go, product line manager, do you have a couple of words to say about the product line that are the TP5, TP5X? What are some of the, I know golf balls are a very hot topic right now in terms of distance, but while we're all playing, these distance balls, what are your thoughts about that? And what should the average player be playing?
So TP5, the simple takeaway for us when you talk to our product creation team in Carlsbad, who are amazing people, They basically just say, we make a 5-layer tour ball, which no one else does. And you can do more with 5 than you can do with 3 or 4, just like you can do more with an 8-cylinder car than you can with a 4. It's really that simple. The more layers that you have, the more you can tweak the construction and the performance of the ball. This year, we've improved the aerodynamic quality, so it travel further at its apex, and it's falling a little bit more as well. So you're going to see some more out of it. Really, it's a ball that would fit anywhere. Yeah.
Right.
It's a tour quality ball. This is what Corey and DJ and all these guys use. Ball that performs well for anyone. But we also make another ball called Tour Response, which has a year cover, still gets the same sort of spin rates around the green, a little more affordable though. So, as far as a real performance, a tour caliber ball goes, one that's a little more budget conscious called Tour Response. And then we have the best performing, it's the hottest tour ball in the market in TP5. And we, in a number of different configurations, white, yellow, we have this PIX design now that you see Ricky Fowler, Matt Wolf use. So there's something for everyone in that space.
And even if if you're an NBA fan, you can get a TP5 PIX ball
Raptor logo,
with Raptors or whoever you like. So if the Leafs win the Stanley Cup, maybe will there be a commemorative Leaf one? I don't know. I guess it depends on.
No, you know what? I'll tell you what Leaf fans will do, Jamey. They'll make their own logos on the ball if they win the Stanley Cup.
We'll cross that bridge when you get to it.
No, exactly. Listen, thank you so much for your time this morning. I'm sorry about the audio thing, but you know what? It's like the last year everyone has been on so many of these calls. Sometimes the audio is intermittent. It's not your fault. Thank you, my friend. And all the best to Nick and Bradley. And we certainly appreciate all you guys have done. And this won't be the last time we talk to you, I hope.
Yeah, my pleasure. We'll do it again. We'll do it when we'll do it in person at some point.
We'd love that.
All right.
Exactly.
All right. There's Jamey Dees, the product line manager of TaylorMade Canada. Just let yourself out. We'll continue this. There you go. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't going to get a new putter, but because I like my putter from last year. I have a Spider.
What made the difference?
The difference is these 3 dots.
No, they're cool.
I know it's a weird thing, but it's just what he said. There's just like an alignment confidence or whatever. But I was rolling putts with Ryan Moore. I guess that's his name. And because I didn't spend a whole lot of time swinging because my shoulders are starting to, actually I'm starting to feel a little bit better, but I didn't want to push it. So I took some swings, not super hard. And then because I wanted to concentrate on a new putter, and it's fascinating what they can do to get the ball. As he said, what a great analogy about a tire rolling end over end will be less prone to interruption. And I guess that's why you want the ball to roll end over end as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that before. That's very, very cool. I stuck with my Spider X because last year I putted. It was one of the best seasons of putting I've ever had, and so I ain't messing with this.
That's great. I like having an option because there was a point in the season last year, and I putted decent. Like, okay, I certainly didn't. You know what I did really well last year for me is I cut down on the number of 3 putts. I don't think I sank a lot. One of my things I'm trying to work on is I didn't make as many birdies as I would like to, but I didn't 3-putt as much as I had. So it kind of, my scores lowered. It's what Scott Fawcett said about, it's not so much the birdies you make, it's the penalty strokes and the 3 putts you avoid.
Exactly.
But I like to have another putter just so your main putter knows that there's an option.
Exactly. You don't behave, you're going into the penalty box.
That's right. I was going to tell you. So I used a putter. I used a putter in June when I won a club championship. I'm sorry, I did. And then like a week later, I put it away and I used another putter for a few weeks just to show that putter that it wasn't everything it thought it was.
Exactly. No, they got to know their place. There's a consequence if things don't work out. Yep.
That's like when your girlfriend or wife says to you, "What do you need another putter for?" "Oh, stop it." You know, that's the kind of, when they ask those
Oh,
questions.
you could say, why do you need another pair of shoes?
No, what I say is, why are there so many pillows on our bed? Why do we have so many other pillows? And then every night we take them off and every morning we put them back on. Why do we do that?
That's a mystery. That's up there with politics and religion. It's just that stuff you just can't solve. It's just out there. It's total conundrum.
Yeah, and she doesn't like the way I make the bed. I don't. Because I don't do the foldy thing. I don't fold the thing over and make it look, uniform.
Symmetry is very important in bed making.
Okay, you got to go in about 22 minutes. So
that's right. Important topics to get through.
Well, I've been very the last couple of days. Our guest last week or a couple weeks ago, Kent Osborne, who I met on Twitter. I've been going back and forth with him.
Cool.
And a few golf guys, including our buddy Scott Fawcett.
Oh, cool.
So Scott Fawcett and I have been kind of on this Twitter sort of string or thread because somebody asked a question. Kent weighed in, I weighed in, and then Scott Fawcett weighed in. And it's all about, a lot of the stuff that you and I have talked a lot about, which is controlling, because I'm just trying to get to the how it all started, but controlling the things you can control or managing expectations. So at one point I said outcomes and results are hard to manage because they're unpredictable.
Totally.
I'm sure you work with a lot of your clients. This is a Doolin thing as well about, what can I go to the golf course? Well, one of the things I control, you help me with, which is you can control hydration and nutrition. Seems simple,
Yeah.
But it and you as a coach of young golf guys at Guelph makes a huge difference. Because as we all know, nutrition from being hangry, speaking of women, from being hangry.
We're getting in trouble here. We're going to get letters.
I don't care. It's true though. Listen, I don't know about Sandy, but every afternoon between around, 4:30 and 6, 5 and 6, there's a level. Sometimes the temperature drops in the house.
Isn't that what Chardonnay's for?
That's exactly it. I always say, honey, can I get you a little drink now just to take some of the edge, the pre-dinner edge off?
That's right. My friend Chardonnay.
That's really funny. She likes these like White Claw types of drinks. And so I always say, let me make you a drink, which is really just opening a can and putting
I love the fact there's wine called Bodacious.
Yeah.
That's just, oh, brother.
So part of the string was, so the outcomes and results are hard to manage. Effort, preparation, hydration, attitude, and attention can all be managed more consistently, which leads to better experiences no matter what the score is. Because I know that when I quit drinking, it had a very more powerful than I would have understood impact on the physiological change of not having so much sugar and alcohol and bloating really made an impact on my mental abilities to handle things. I'm still a psycho, but a lot different than I was when I drank. And I see that as part of what we do in golf. You can, if you make sure that physiologically you're well, chances are you'll be able to psychologically handle the ups and downs of the game.
I was talking with a client yesterday, and we're talking about dealing with emotions that we're feeling, and then when we're not feeling well in our body. And I was saying, well, when you're feeling these emotions, what often happens is we want to make those feelings go away. Say we're feeling some sadness or whatever's going on, so we can get on and be productive. In our society, it's so important that we're being productive. But I said, if you don't work through the emotion, you don't heal it. You have to feel it and be there with it. And he kind of got it in with me that, it's different when you're not feeling well in your body. He says, hey, dude, I have a conviction it's all the same. mind, body, it's all the same. So you're taking care of yourself. So when you take care of yourself in terms of hydration and nutrition, you're taking care of your mind and body. But when you also go into a game of golf with, say, an intention, and your intention, rather than today's the day I break 190, 80, again,
results. Yeah, you
that's
you can't control that.
You can't control that. But if I went in with the intention that I'm going to play with, my son today, and it's about having the greatest time with my son, that's something you can control. And of course, being humans, we're going to hit some bad shots, and so easy to go down a rabbit hole of looking for the solution, or, oh, there goes today's round. If we come back to our intention, that's something we control. But I also think that it helps us feel lighter. We just can enjoy our experience in an easier way, and that leads to better golf and better experiences.
A lot of golfers, I'm sure you and I have had this as a craving sometime in our lives, the saying, oh, I wish I were more consistent, because whatever the handicap you are, you always think people with lower handicaps or pros or professionals are consistent. And
they're happier.
Yeah. No, we always think everyone's happier than we are. But what I was, and I'm sorry, I was trying to find this. It doesn't matter. I remember what I said. One of the things that professionals and better players do is they focus on, the things that are controllable, and they kind of let whatever else happen. As you said, if your intention for the day is better break 80 today, or I'm not going to be happy. Well, there's a lot of shitty days then.
Yeah, good luck with that.
And I've had, and I'm guiltier. I say this, by the way, not like I'm so, from on high. I've had a lot of shitty days on the golf course, and I realize they were that way because my expectations were wrong, or not wrong, were misplaced.
Mm-hmm. But you can learn from those bad days. I mean, it's like a friend of mine says, I never learned anything on a good day. And
you can't, I should say the caveat there, if I may say, that you can learn on those days if you're open to learning on those days.
Absolutely. Learning is, that's the key to performance, is learning. Fred Shoemaker, my performance today does not dictate my performance tomorrow. My performance tomorrow is dictated by my learning today. Because, you see it on tour all the time. A guy shoots a 65, next day 74. What happened? I don't know. Slept different. Had a argument with a girlfriend or wife, or just, it's a different day. So, but what do we learn from each day that we can actually take forward? That magic feeling we had in our backswing, that's gone the next day, or it's gone in the back nine.
Yeah.
That stuff you can't draw from, but you can draw from things that you learned about yourself, your awareness, your patterns, those types of things.
It sounds hackneyed to say, if you focus on the processes, I mean, this is beyond, expecting to have a good time with your kid. If your game of golf is sort of centered around the process, which is, I was getting to my point about consistency. I actually halfway through that, I forgot what I was talking about. But when
I'm 64,
I know. Focusing on process every day, committing to something. These are some things I've been ruminating on this coming season. Committing to a certain amount of stretching every day, a certain amount of warm up, a type of warm up to prepare for the day, and to focus on those things. Back to what I was trying to say about people always imagine that better players are more consistent. But what I think better players are very good at doing, and tour players are the best at doing, is understanding that 65s can be followed by 74s, and 74s can be followed by 65s, and you can miss the cut 3 weeks in a row and then win. And one thing about being an amateur, and I'm speaking for myself now, is I sometimes think every round of golf and every bad shot is a predicator of my life to come.
Exactly. Yes.
It's like I hit a bad shot, and part of me thinks, well, now all I do is hit bad shots.
So I suck. Wow, in stereo. That wasn't even That wasn't even planned. See?
That's what it is. And you can tell you know this better than most people. When you do something bad, you think, well, now I'm bad forever.
Exactly. But here's the difference, people. You see, like we were just mimicking it like we're like 5-year-olds. The difference between good players who can shoot certain scores and professionals, yes, it has a ton to do with technique, but it comes with a certain degree of maturity and a discipline in the way they think. And so it's mindset. So what a really good player can do is focus on process, doing, all those things we talked about, making sure you get good sleep as best you can, hydration, food, all that stuff, process, whatever routine if you want, or what you go through to create a shot. And then that shot's gone and it's freaking done. You can't control it. From the time that club hits the ball, you're done. You can't even really control your swing. You can manage it if you stay tuned to your process. And then it's like, wherever it went, okay, well, we'll go and deal with that. But because you can't control where it goes. But if you control the process and your mindset that if I can just accept where it goes and move from there, then I give myself a chance to play better golf. Because if you're so caught up in the outcome, it goes in the fairway, I'm great, goes in the rough, I suck. Well, good luck.
That's right.
Good effing luck, and bringing yourself to playing to keep your level of focus, to keep your energy up, all that stuff.
And that's why, I can't remember where I was talking about this with recently, a couple of days, where that whole thing about how golf sucks you in. You get to your play like crap all day. You get to the last hole, you hit a couple of good shots, and like, oh, this golf is sucking me in again. But that's because you're at the mercy of enjoying it when it's going well and not when it's not. And having spent a lot of time, and I look back on my golfing life, I've spent a lot of time not enjoying myself because,
me too, man. Absolutely,
because I wasn't playing to whatever level or expectation for that day. And something occurred to me last summer. I think we talked about it for sure. I know you and I talked about it privately, but the idea that I finally figured out that some of my unhappiness was coming from not hitting shots that I thought I should, but taking everything I was doing personally. And then I sort of thought, well, if a shot is just a shot, as you said, then it doesn't have anything to do with me, really. Doesn't mean I'm a terrible person. And when you say things to yourself like, oh shit, I should be able to hit a 7-iron, 164 by now, all that stuff we say to each other. And by the way, the reason that I use that 5-year-old voice is because that's what we feel like when those things happen.
Absolutely.
I don't understand. I practiced for an hour and I stubbed a chip. Well, so what? So it was into the grain, or maybe you just didn't quite. So the difference between you hitting getting mad at the inside of your car or not is because the club head slightly hit the ground and was a bit fat and it was short to, all that stuff.
So interesting. It is dumb game, but that's why it has an iron grip on us. So cool that while you were talking, I was thinking about a certain book. The 4 Agreements, which is so cool. It's I'm reaching Don Miguel Ruiz,
which we've talked about, by the way, you and I know you're 80, but you forget that we've spoken about it 1,000 times.
I know. Well, it's because it's good stuff. So you talked about it. Don't take anything personally. Yeah. That's the 2nd agreement. 4th agreement, always do your best.
Be impeccable with your word.
Exactly.
Don't take anything personally. Don't assume anything.
That's right.
And always do your best. And when
you've committed those to memory, well done.
But part of the reason is because when we first met, I wanted to turn the 4 agreements, FOUR, into the 4 agreements, FORE, because I find so much in that book that speaks to me as a person, but as a golfer too. How many guys do we know, myself included, where you have a bad hole or two and you just give up, and in your heart that you gave up, and you go home and you think, oh, I should have done better, but you gave up. And there's something satisfying about not giving up, about handing in a card and it says 87. And you know what? I did my very best on every shot. Just turned out to be shitty today. So what?
Yeah, and I remember a couple of years ago, you were really proud of yourself, and I loved it, that you took as much time on a putt for 9 as you did as a putt for 2.
Yep.
And that's when it was like, okay, you're returning that ship around, because I remember at the time you were struggling with, you were getting yourself into national championships like the Canadian Mid-Am and this stuff, and then it just wasn't going well, and getting caught in kind of that story, really, I should be putting better than this. And then you started to just make this change in your mindset about, and really, I think it really does come back to always do your best. So that is a great mantra for any level of golfer.
Tim O'Connor, and you can have him coach you. You can. I have. It's fun. O'ConnorGolf.ca. Years ago, a friend of both of ours, Paul Doolin, started coaching me in 2014. It's when I first met him through Sean Casey, another friend of show. And a couple years after I met Paul, he said, have you ever thought of meditating? And I hadn't gotten into the Sam Harris book yet. And I was like, I don't know, what's meditation going to do? And but now, because it's part of my everyday life, meditation is not about going into an altered state. It's about learning to be more aware, sort of minute by minute. It's the practice of becoming intensely interested in the present moment. And that's what golf affords us, as a chance to, almost as a meditation practice, to see how present you can be. It's easy to be present when you've just ripped one down the middle and you're happily walking toward the ball, and then the next second it's in a bush. It's not as easy to be present to that experience.
Or you've just nutted a driver and you walk down there and it's in a divot that's pointing like 90 degrees away from your target.
That's right, it's pointing at a different hole. Because immediately you come out of the present and you become a 5-year-old again. And this is the work that you've done so well, is you become, all of a sudden you become this story of this bag of yourself that you've been dragging around, and all it took was the ball to be embedded in the face of a bunker.
Yeah. Well, this is the key thing that I talk to people about meditation. So a lot of men, or I guess some women too, meditation, it just strikes them as this weird thing, and to me, it's practical. It's so practical. Basically, it's like, what am I paying attention to? When I'm driving down the highway, am I fumbling for my phone because I heard a text notification, or am I paying attention to the road? Well, I think it would serve you to pay attention to the road. In the same way, to hit a drive, into the woods and then to be tromping down the fairway, telling you how much you suck, and despite all the practice you've put in, you're still blocking it out and going through the Rolodex of swing thoughts. Well, quite obviously, folks, that's not going to help you once you find your ball. You're still going to be in this agitated state. You're not going to be able to focus. But as you're walking down the fairway and go, oh, I'm doing that thing again where I'm beating the crap out of myself. Well, that doesn't serve me. Okay, I'll come back, actually listen to my partners, or I'll look around and I'll become present.
That's a great point. The funny thing about mindfulness isn't that you're not going to have those thoughts. Oh, I suck and blah, 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 all the thoughts. It's having them, noticing them, and then going, okay, well, I need to move on from that. Because, one of the things I've been doing in my practice recently is that, and I took my daughter gave me the master class series for Christmas. And so I've been going, January was all about cooking. And this last couple of months, I've been sort of looking at some of the other people on it. One is John Kabat-Zinn, who's a very famous mindfulness meditation man. I just love hearing him talk about this stuff. But one of these says is, listen, you're going to have these thoughts. The idea is to notice them and then to have them, but not to judge them, because it's one thing to say, oh, shoot, there I go, hitting it left into the trees again. And what most of us then do is start judging that we suck, we didn't practice enough, and why am I playing this game? And maybe I should do something else, and I take all this time away from my family. It's to go, oh, there I am hitting that thing in the trees again. Yeah, Well, that's what I do sometimes. And then to not judge it anymore, and then to come back to, well, like the best example I can think of recently, and this is what, again, separates tour players from the average person, is Max Homa. Misses a 3.5-foot putt that he completely gagged, admittedly, talking about doing it in front of his idol, Tiger Woods. And then a hole later, hits it what looks like he's stymied by a tree. But, you know, one thing he didn't do that all of the rest of us mostly would do is just see that and go, you know,
Yes.
you know, I could just imagine the average player walking up to that shot, you know, in real golf and be going, no, fuck, this is ridiculous. Are you seeing this? Professionals are professional at not doing that.
Exactly. Yeah. And the thing about what professionals are able to do, they're able to witness what's going on in their minds and go like it all happens to all of them. The story I've told a few times about Jason Day, he comes to the 18th tee. He's about to win a major. What's the thought that comes to his head? Don't blow this thing off the world.
Yeah.
This is like the number one player in the world at the time, or about to win his first major, and that's the thought he has. Then he goes, whoa, what am I going to do? Then he goes through his own process. So it's from that position of awareness that then I'm caught in those thoughts, or I'm feeling this in my body, and then being able to adjust. The quick note I want to make about meditation that a lot of people misunderstand, it's not about making your mind go blank. It's not about not having thoughts. It's where do I want to pay attention? Where do I want my mind to be? So when we're, say, focused on breath meditation, or what they call Vipassana meditation, if my intention is to be on my breath and I catch myself thinking, emails, calls I got to make, whatever, and I go, oh, I'm thinking, come back to breath. That's the simple act of awareness right there. And it works
and that's
in
also
all parts of your game.
But that is in itself, you know, meditation. It's not like you're going to, as I say, you're not going into some altered state where your eyes are rolling back in your head. You know, I'm in my studio. Sometimes I'll do it, you know, after the show, I'll sit here and for 15 minutes, either guided, lightly guided, or not guided at all, just do that. And I mainly anchor. Some people do it with their bodies, but I always anchor with my breath. And John Kabat-Zinn said, you know, is that belly breath? Is that chest breath? Is it the breath in your nostril? And he said that too. You're going to have 100 thoughts, the craving, wandering mind or whatever. But it's every time that you have a thought, and this is a golf thing. You start going down that rabbit hole of self-hatred and all these other things to sort of catch yourself. You know, and again, like a professional, like to play professionally with a 20 handicap, but you can have a professional attitude. You can try as hard on the triple bogey putt as you would if it was for birdie. It just serves you better. I know you got to go. Let's thank any final thoughts here. I know we didn't really talk Tiger. I don't think Tiger's playing anytime soon.
No, but apparently he's, you know, there's been no word on how he's doing, which I think is good. That means that I think that he's coming along okay. No news is relatively good news. I just wanted to say I love the fact that what I mostly read on social media was not sniping or accusations. Oh, he must have been carousing or something. No, it was wishes of for his recovery and consideration for his family. I thought that was just quite lovely to see, and so. That was really good to see. That's all.
Agreed. O'ConnorGolf.ca. Tim posts some stuff on that. And you can get a hold of the humbleandfredradio.com. There's that. You can also go to humbleandfred.com. Listeners of both of our shows know that Freddie and I recently left Bell Media and took our show off all the other radio stations. Hang in for one quick second. I'll update you on the radio world that we're trying to get back into. O'Connor, thank you, sir. See you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you. Look forward to seeing you too.
Thanks to Jamey Dees, the product line manager, TaylorMade Canada. Thanks to everyone at TaylorMade. And we'll see you soon. And thank you.